the interesting thing about, and I'm actually creating this dialogue for the class that I'm teaching called Hips Don't Lie. But after going through my second Saturn return, which is what happens at 60, right? Between 58 and 60, there's something about integrating your life experiences so that you can extend your life.
Ooh.
Okay, because most of us are taught to carry our trauma as though we live in crisis.
Yeah.
But our actual traumas are gifts. There's an opening there. There's something in there, but we have to go into it to actually integrate those things. And then that expands us. Because the more we hold on to the poor me, the victim, this shouldn't have happened, the more that constricts our capacity to be our optimal self. Our greatness is swallowed in that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, Shemsu, that for me, and listening to you, I think mine has been suppressed to keep going.
Mine too, Tammy.
I don't have time to deal with that.
Mine too, Tammy. I was just like, well, I got through that. I mean, right. Look, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Through it. But so if our souls are here to expand and to learn through our experiences, not just survive it, but to learn, what were those lessons teaching?
Right.
And so we have to look at each one. And so they keep showing up in other people, in other experiences, right? Do you see your patterns?
Oh, yeah.
Same people, same stuff, same, can't get rid of our siblings because they right there showing us ourselves. Can't get rid of our parents because their memories, whatever. Those are lessons. Like, what is there to get? Not what is there to mourn and grieve and regret.
Or ignore.
Or repress. I don't want to feel that. But we're more dynamic. We're huge. Our capacity is huge. We haven't even touched it.
I remember waking up when at the time, my pastor's wife died of breast cancer. And I had gone to see her at the hospital before I left to Miami. And she was fine. I mean, I knew she was going to be fine. And I had the faith that she was going to pull through. I didn't think anything of it. And while I was in Miami, she passed away and I just lost it. I never forget it. I was with, what was his name? Oh, one of the bulls, the one that used to put his hair in red and yellow. And what was his name? No, the other
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. He was out. He was there and we were talking and Girl, I just melted and I ran to the car. I just lost it. And what I learned, because I ended up speaking at her funeral, because Spirit told me to speak at her funeral, which was really crazy. And I ended up, writing what I was going to say, all this other stuff. But I remember Spirit talking to me about that, saying, she told you before she left that she had ignored the bump in her breast because she was too busy with the church.
Wow. Teresa.
And do you know you can rub the bumps out? Do you know that you can rub the lumps out of your breast? All it is just residue that has stored. Like you can literally clear the cataracts out of your eyes with eye drop. I mean, see, I'm telling you, the system keep us making us dependent on them, but God has given us everything that we require.
We have the lymphatic system.
Healing hands.
Yes. Our lymphatic system helps. It's superficial. It's right below the skin to get rid of the waste.
To get rid of it. And all you have to do is dissolve it. So when those lumps show up anywhere, you just have to lovingly rub it and give it your heat, your attention, and it dissolves into your blood system, your lymphatic system, and goes out and you pee it out or you shit it out, one or the other, right?
Yep. Fibroids, cysts.
You can rub those out too. I mean, it's really amazing what the human body is capable of doing.
Yes, yes.
So we really, really want to honor that, you know.
Yes.
Hey, Miss Legault, you in the car? Miss Legault, we were just talking about how we be so busy.
Yeah.
I'm not in the car. I'm at home.
Multitasking in life. Hey, beautiful. Oh my God, you guys are so beautiful. I mean, somebody asked me, do we have a requirement that all Master Force coaches are good looking? I said, we don't have to have that requirement. It's a natural way of being.
That's it. That's
It
it.
shows up like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's funny because my last name is Lugo, and Mudas always say, "Hey, Lugo," and then all of a sudden you came in the picture. I'm like, who's that girl taking my name? Who's that girl taking my name?
I know. I look like, wait a minute.
We got the French and Spanish in the house. The French and Spanish.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So amazing. Well, Tammy, before you go, I want to at least breathe with you. Can we do our breathe?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Ms. Legault, are you in a space where you can breathe with us?
Yep.
Yes. Gonna sign in this Zoom. So that way I won't have to do that part. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So put your feet flat. If you can, take your shoes off and touch the floor. Get some earthing in with this warm weather. Put your feet in the dirt on the floor. And we're connecting with Mother Earth. We're allowing that energy to come up into us. So exhale all of the air from your body, exhaling. Breathing in through your nose. Expand your belly. And we're holding 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. Relaxing, pulling in and holding 2, 3, 4. Breathe in through your nose and hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale, relaxing, letting go, pushing in and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Pushing in. Breathe in. Exhale. And now just breathe naturally, allowing yourself to just relax. Have the air just naturally go in and out of your lungs. As we scan our body, we're going to scan our body and allow ourselves to just relax, noticing any place that we have tension. We're going to allow our breath to go in that area and relax. Remembering our feet are flat on the floor as we absorb the energy of Mother Nature coming into our feet. Feeling that energy go up into our feet, our calves, our knees, up into our thighs. Feel the energy of earth go into our buttocks, into our abdomen, allowing it to go up into our chest, into our shoulders and our arms, our hands and our fingers, relaxing. allowing the energy of Mother Earth to come up into our neck, the nape of our neck, the back of our neck, releasing any tension that we see there, up into our face, going up into our head, our forehead, releasing tension behind our eyes and behind our ears, relaxing. Going up to the top of our head and letting our skull just relax. Ooh. Letting go. And now we're imagining an opening in our crown chakra. We're imagining an opening where we can have the cosmic energy coming into our head as Father energy flowing into us, that white light flowing into the top of our heads, down through our skull, through our face, through our neck, shoulders, arms. Feel that light energizing every cell in your body, using this energy to heal, nurture, release as it goes down through our chest, our abdomen, our pelvic, our thighs, down past our knees, our calves, into our ankles and feet, meeting up with the energy of Mother Earth. We are both the mother and the father energy within ourselves, the yin and the yang, allowing this energy to flow freely through us, allowing ourselves to be nurtured, supported, and used by this energy that sustains us, maintains us, using our breath as the connection, allowing ourselves to feel relaxed and supported, loved and nurtured, feeling grateful for the moments that we can be still and know God as part of our ever reaching heart. And we're breathing and relaxing, remembering that all we have to do is close our eyes and breathe to connect to source energy that is always available to us. Now, I want you to come back to this side of consciousness so we can continue our day with this amazing vibrating force that's emanating from us. Come back to this side. You may have to move your body, rub your body, touch your body, connect to the room. You can stretch, whatever brings you back. Rub your hands together. Open your eyes. Feel it. It's with you. Right there. Ooh. I know it's hard to come back, isn't it?
I did not want to come back.
Ooh, baby. Ooh. That's such a beautiful, nurturing space to be in. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
So I know that Tammy has to leave. I know that there are people who are at graduations today. people who have some of your people, you know, I said, talk to your buddy, because if you're not going to be here, then your buddy, you know. However, all work is posted in the group, and I usually feature it. So it's usually in the feature section. So all the past videos are in the feature section, as well as the assignments. Okay, so I'm not trying to hide anything from you guys. As a matter of fact, I want to say this while we're here, because I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people are, you know, just passing. They're leaving. They're just dropping dead on the moment. So I can see this is why Spirit is having us do this work, so we can help people to balance this energy, because it's going to get worse. You know, and so many, I mean, just this week, you know, I've had several people just heart attacks, and I'm like, you know, and we can have some idea where that's coming from, but regardless to what our stance is on certain things, let us have the compassion to actually support people right where they are. Whether we agree or not is not our issue. Okay, we really know, we have enough experience to know how to put things over here on the shelf. I don't have to give my opinion all the time when you may need something else from me. Yes. So we're talking about in this session, end of life services. What does it look like to prepare people inside of their end of life services? But before we get to that, I want to know how you're doing with your assignments. How did you all do with your assignments for last week? We had the sacred space. I know most of you said you did that. Are all of you talking to your buddies?
Yes.
Miss Legault, are you talking to your buddy? I didn't see your nod.
We've been texting, but he's been busy.
Oh, yeah. Who's your buddy that's been busy? See there?
Sylvia, right, Sylvia.
Yeah, Sylvia's been busy.
Okay, I'm drinking water.
Right, Tammy.
I saw Tammy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get me a gallon. I'm gonna
Tammy, I got chlorophyll in mine.
Oh, nice. I gotta order some more. Yeah, hydration.
Hydration is key.
I actually reached out to Landa, my partner. When I didn't see her, I was like, where are you, my friend? Where are you?
We've been watching her daughter's graduation this morning. I was so excited.
Oh, that's nice.
Tammy, what's her name? Your favorite person, the slutty chef?
Yeah.
She was the speaker.
Oh, Pinky
Cole. And Pinky Cole gave all the graduating class an LLC.
Yep.
Whoa.
She's there for all those graduating. She worked with a bank, and she set up accounts for them to all have their LLC.
Wait, who graduated? Whose child graduated?
Aretha, Amanda, her baby girl.
God.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes.
That is so awesome.
Look at you. You've been screaming at the TV, Amanda. Lord have mercy. I was too.
I've been trying not to, because we have company. So I've been trying to not. I've been up since 4 this morning because the dog was barking. It was just crazy. So I can't go to sleep because I gotta sit up and watch this. So I've actually enjoyed it. It's amazing.
Where did she graduate from?
Clark University.
So this is so funny. I am going to a graduation party. So the owner of Cycle Gang's daughter, Kalima, graduated from Clark. So I've been looking at her pictures. I'll be attending her graduation party. So, I know he's ecstatic.
Yes. And that's today. That graduation party is today?
Yeah, 3:00 Eastern time.
Wow.
So I'm going to celebrate her, but I've been watching the pictures and, that she's been taken at Clark, and he actually works for Clark. So Oh, they're gonna be on 10 today when I get there.
Oh, they on 10. Yeah,
They on 10. Listen, when she got up there and spoke and told, and Pinky told, when she got up there and told her story, I was just so inspired. And her favorite thing is fail and keep failing, because fail means find aspirations in loss, in the loss.
I'm
yeah,
gonna write that down.
Yes.
And
And I-
the loss.
Yes,
Yes.
find aspirations in
In
losing
loss.
or in
Yep.
the loss. And
I
I was like,
love it.
yes, but keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
I love
And
it.
she told her story about how she had lost so much. And then she just said, listen, and here it is 4 years later, I own 2 $100 million companies.
Wow.
Okay.
What does she have other than Slutty Vegan? What's her second company?
I don't know.
I don't know what her second one is. I know she got 5 restaurants, and then I
And
don't
a
know
truck,
what her-
maybe her truck, because she also has the truck that
yeah.
goes around, you know.
Yeah,
But she,
Yeah, the truck, that's where she started. That's where I first tasted her food. And I think the truck goes to other states now,
yeah,
right?
because she came, they were in Chicago.
Oh,
Because the tour went down. Actually, I think they were at a restaurant though, but maybe they were parked in front of the restaurant. But Zakur, I remember Zakur went down there. I was like, I ain't going down there no line, baby boy, but you go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad she does have, like you said, Atlanta, the 5 locations. So we don't have those 3-hour waits anymore. But I used to stand in those 3-hour lines.
Yes, but she got up there and she, so
Awesome.
yes.
it was. She was awesome. And then I saw that there's people that graduated 75 years ago. Of course, it's one person, but they did classes by 75.
Yes, they had
70.
a lot of people. Mhm.
Yeah.
They
Oh, a
had
lot
a
of
woman that
alumni
they gave her honorary doctorate. She was 85 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
So a lot of alumni. Oh, that
A
was
lot.
so
It was huge.
Yes.
Yeah, they had it on YouTube. So I thought that was beautiful live on
Yeah.
YouTube. So
I'm gonna have to look for it so I can at least hear her speech.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
So
know
it's
that
on
will go down. Mhm.
Okay.
That'll go down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So now tell me about you all's work. How did you all do with did anybody watch the series? What did you think of the series? Did anything come up for you in the series? Hey, Mama.
Which one?
Whichever one you watched. Which
I
one?
watched both. I watched both of them. I didn't finish watching the Life After Death. I was kind of like lost when they did the I would say lost, but when they started talking about ectoplasm, I was like, yep, nope. I don't want to just watch that. Like, I don't want to be that kind of medium. Like, I don't want to do that.
Hey,
I just do a little bit. Right.
Okay,
I just
I
do a
see
little
you.
bit. I don't want to do all that other stuff. That's too
But
much.
you know, when they said ectoplasm, y'all know what I thought of, right?
But Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I saw Ghostbusters and the remake
Yep.
the same thing. I said,
Nope.
yeah, I don't want to be no Ghostbusters, but
Nah, I don't want to, nope. Because all I can think, my luck, I would have that green blobby thing chasing me around the house because I'm just one of them people. And no, I don't want to have nothing to do with none of that. Nope. But the series overall, I like Surviving Death and Life After Death. I like both. And one with the guy Tyler, the medium.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just him going through his family experience was just what I was like really in tune to. I was listening for that because it was a lot of things to unpack that he didn't want to take on himself because he was too close to it. So I was gonna ask about that when everybody else.
Right. What I wanted you guys to get from either both those series or one of those series, first of all, some of you really have repressed medium skills.
I think I absolutely that. So that may be it, Moo. Okay. That's
Yes.
okay.
You have repressed medium skills. And because as a child, people shunned us or made us feel a certain way about that or didn't know how to help us. I love listening to Teresa, how she works with her grandson and his skills. But to have a buddy that you talk to Those are medium skills being developed. And so when people make you feel a certain way about that, you begin to feel shameful and you shut it down. So now we have to go back and really represent those for ourselves.
Wow.
You know, so the messages from the masters that speaks on that. We, you know, I did some past life regression with myself and with other people to really see what's, for one thing, I felt like I was just living such a karmic life in my younger years, and I wanted to get off that karmic wheel, right? But the thing is that we have many lifetimes in us.
Right.
And
Right.
we have many things that we're learning. That's why we talk about know thyself. It's more important that we spend time in this vehicle than it is to be so concerned outside of ourselves. So even if we just spend a half hour a day really being with ourselves and working with ourselves and getting to know ourselves, you would be surprised how that would expand your growth. You know, because when you expand your growth spiritually, it actually oozes over into everything else.
It's true. It's true.
Your greatest power is your spiritual self.
It's so true. And you know what, Musha, so when you talk about past life regression, you reminded me that, you know, I don't know if you remember this, but I went through a whole Akashic record reading certification program.
Yeah.
And I'm connecting the dots in this repressed medium skills because I stopped doing it because it just brought up. I guess I didn't know what to do with what it was bringing up.
Yes. So this is the work. So when things come up, your best tool is journaling.
Journaling.
Your best tool is journaling. Your next best thing is sitting in a tub of water, because water, you know, 80% of our body, 75 to 80% of our body is water. So when we immerse ourselves in water, it literally makes us comfortable. We feel held, we feel supported. And so when you're dealing with hard stuff, you go sit in a tub and you breathe. You just breathe. You just breathe. Yeah. And that on so many levels, you're releasing toxins in the water, you're releasing toxins through your breath, and you have a greater capacity to feel the pain, or it's not even pain, it's just a stretch.
Absolutely.
It's the newness. Is that your client, Tammy?
Yes, my client.
Hello.
Hi, Martin. I am getting off a call. Good morning. Good.
All right, Dr. Tammy, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
So the best thing to do is to use that water, you know, as a point of comfort, you know, and even showers work. I mean, literally the purification of water is so amazing. What were you gonna say, Amanda?
They have a studio here. It's called Float and Fly.
Yes. Have you did that?
No, I haven't I haven't done it yet. Okay, because, you know, I've been thinking, I'm very weird about getting in places where other people use. So going into tubs, I know they clean it, but sometimes I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's just something we make up so we don't have to do nothing new.
I know.
Get that up.
I know. And I thought about it. I said, you know, this is second. When you said it the first time, and someone else mentioned that they want to go, and I said, okay, yep, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna make an appointment to go over there because they have you getting this like capsule and it's water and you float because it's full of, I think, salt water, some type of
probably salt water. Yeah, but that flotation is something else. You know, the art of letting go is really one of the most healing things, just to float, just to trust. It's a form of trusting. Can I trust that this element is going to hold me? Can I be in this space?
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
So I pretty much, I need to stop making stuff up. Okay, gotcha.
Right, right.
Okay.
Let me see, Miss Legault. Okay, Miss Legault, I see Miss Legault didn't get a chance to do hers, but okay, that's okay. Now listen, here's the thing. This course is gonna be an ongoing course because as you grow and then take on clients, I just took on a client the other day, just you know, wasn't purposefully taking on a client, but I actually, one of my friends, Sylvia, from my childhood, her husband is like 32 years older than her. He's 90. How old is he? He's 90. He'll be 90. He made 95.
Wow.
Yeah. And I called her the other day because I've been missing her calls. And I finally said, let me call her. And she said he's in hospice at home. You know, but he's doing fine and this. And it's just like, this guy is so amazing. And he's a Capricorn. So I've been working with her just to keep her energy, you know, so because there are different capacities that you work in that doula, you know, sometimes it's with the client, but she's actually doing doula services with her husband because of their relationship. They've been married for over 30 years. Right. So one of the things that I want to talk about in as far as doing the end of life work is recapitulation. Who remembers recapitulation from your course? Okay. So recapitulation is my favorite technique that I got from Deepak Chopra many years ago. And I've gotten so many lessons from Deepak. But recapitulation talks about how, you know, in the hospital when somebody is dying, they say, bring the chaplain in, go get the reverend, right? And the minister sits there, and what the person usually does is they sit and go through their life, and they talk about everything that they wish that they would have done, or wish that they would have did better at, or people that they love and miss, or forgiveness that they need to extend. Now, the challenge with that is it's at the end of life. You're getting ready to leave. So we use recapitulation so that we can do this, on a daily basis, or a weekly basis, or a monthly, and however often you do it, we look and see what's in my life that I'm avoiding. What in my life do I need to clean up? What in my life am I just afraid of? You know, so when we're doing end of life, we're creating what we call a deeper listening. Because when we're talking to people, we want to listen for their answer. Remember, we spoke about how important it is for you to listen during this time period than it is for you to talk, because you're not trying to teach anything now. They have to really empty themselves. So one of the first questions we ask are, what are you most grateful for in your life? And, you know, these are casual questions that you can ask while you're either sitting with the person, while you're sitting with the family, while you're lighting candles or something. You're really being present to them, but you want to know, what are you most grateful for in your life? Now, when you ask people that and they tell, what do you think they'll get present to? What's a feeling they'll get present to when you ask someone what's grateful for? What's the feeling that comes up for them?
Love.
Love.
Pure love.
They get present to joy. They get present to the people that they love. They get present to the things that they've accomplished. Right? So you help to bring them into a state of awareness that's different from the experience that they're currently in, which is really comforting. Right? Now you can write down notes, you can record, you can have other family members there, but this is a chance for you to do deeper listening, and you kind of pull things out of this person so that they can be refreshed as they're releasing this life, so that they can see how grateful it was to be here. And you're just asking, what are you most grateful for? The next question you can ask is, what are you concerned about at this time? Now, this is where some of your services may come in, because they may need to have a will created. They may need to have a power of attorney created. They may be concerned about their estate. They may be concerned about their children. And yes, these are things that you will develop resources for, but we'll get more into that in session 4. But you will have, your role will be to establish connections with people where you can direct either the family or them or whatever. You're gonna have solutions for them, but not so much telling them what to do, but hearing what it is they need to have done, and then listening for, the resources to bring in. Does that make sense? Okay. And then, is there someone you need to talk with right now? Do you know how many people are on their deathbeds and they may not have talked to their children in years? And all they want to do is talk to their son or daughter, right? That may be a service that you could provide. You may be able to reconnect a family member, right? But that again, and then a question, are all your affairs in order, right? Are there any special requests for your end of life service? Some people may want to do things a certain way. You better believe my shit is listed. I'm sorry. My stuff is written down. Everybody around me know what? She wants to be cremated, her ashes put in a joint, and y'all smoke it like it's Angel does. Everybody get a hit. I don't want to take up any more space on this earth. Okay, don't put me in the ground. Okay. You also may want to ask, is there a special poem or song? Some people want you to have poetry recited to them, a certain music playing. These are things that you can provide inside of the end of life service. Okay, Teresa, what's your question?
I just wanted to add that in the videos we were watching, they had mentioned that it would be wise to let your loved ones know what signs to look for when you're gone.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I love that.
What signs to look for. And you notice how often they asked, who do you see who's here with you? Because people are coming for them, to support them, and people are there helping them the whole time. So it's not just you that's there, it is other people that are, other entities, I should say, that's supporting them. Yeah, I love, I love those, because part of your work next week is to really, take note and really put down what's in your doula bag. You know what I mean? So part of that is some of the things that you have learned from watching these presentations. But let's talk a minute about the difference between the hospice versus a death doula. Okay, because when you want to hook up with people who offer hospice care, because hospice care is mostly the medical side of what the person needs, right? Whereas the death doula side is more about the spiritual and emotional care. So if you know that a hospital offers hospice care, if you have a card or brochure and you go and say, listen, I just want to let you know that I offer Death Doula services for the family, and this is how you can reach me, you know, and you may want to start off volunteering until you feel more comfortable, and then just, you know, determine what your rate is and what that looks like. And we'll talk more about that at the end. Because hospice is paid for by the medical system, but the death doula is usually paid for by the family. Most of the time, I just accept donations. You know, whatever you want to give is fine, you know. And then you also become what we are as the liaison between the medical and the family, because a lot of times the death doula is there when the family isn't. You know, a lot of times people will pay a death doula to be in the hospital because the family is working or whatever. So they're paying you for your time. So you want to make sure that when you're there, you either have something, do you have a puzzle? Do you have crochet? Because you don't want to be there on the phone. You don't want to be in your phone. Why? Because your energy is what's important during this time. Any messages and all that is kind of interrupted through technology. Y'all notice that? Yeah. You know, that's how they got all our babies trapped. But anyway, that's another message. You know, the other thing is that with hospice, they're concerned about the food and the nutrition. So that's not something that you have to be concerned with. And most of the time when people are on the deathbed, they're not eating. They don't even want to eat. You know, most of the time they just, you want to be present as much as they can, right? And then hospice takes care of their pain and comfort. However, you are the person that is listening for if they do want to eat. What do they want to eat? What do they have a taste for? Are they in pain? This is where you can have your oils, essential oils, because a lot of times people just need to be touched. You know, they just need to have their feet rubbed, their legs rubbed, the circulation. Okay, so part of that is what you can do. Now, again, you just ask their permission or whoever permission. Okay, so make sure that you have that. Death doulas can also officiate funeral services at home. You know, especially, you know, during COVID, a lot of people had their funeral services at home because, you know, people wanted to be able to have their family there. They're like, we're not going to a funeral home because nobody can be there. So we're going to just have it at home. So my recommendation is that you go ahead and you can go online and get your pastoral services, become a pastor. You know, I think it's like $35, $40. It could have went up.
Yeah,
But,
I think it was 50 or something like that, because I did an online thing and got mine a few years ago.
You can do online, yeah. And just, you know, this way you can officiate funerals, weddings, or whatever, you know. So you want to, and not that you have to do that, but sometimes families are more comfortable if you are an officiate.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? You know. Teresa, what's that look on your face? Was that the dog? Taco Bell. That's Taco Bell. Lord have mercy. Look just like Taco Bell. All right. So the other thing is part of the energy in the room. How many of you have family members that as soon as they show up, they cause a commotion? Right? So part of your energy is to protect that from, you know, you keep it out of the space of, you know, the last thing a person needs to hear when they're transitioning is issues that are unresolved because they can't do anything about it. Our energy is to bring peace and joy, period. Right? So you have to listen to serve and not gossip, a deeper communication. Create this safe, loving space that people can actually be present to and respect and honor. You might have to pull somebody to the side and say, you know, I know that this bothers you. This is just not the time to deal with it. And you can say to them, I'm a life coach. If you would like to set up a time to work through this, I'm available. Here's my card. You can have that duality there, that dual service there. Okay. But remember, you're protecting the space. You're creating it safe and loving. Right? Any questions about that? And again, we'll talk more about what it looks like to charge for services and all that in our last session, because we want to actually prepare what it looks like to be available to people, right? To actually have the different services that you provide. Now, here's the thing. Can you tell that in order for you to be effective, that you've had to deal with your own triggers about death? Have you did that? Do you think you're clear? Miss Legault, I can't see your face. Do you think you're clear?
I'm clearing.
Okay, say more about it. What's there?
Well, to me, it's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process. And so I feel like there's a logical side that I understand and that I accept. There's the emotions, you know, and that part where it's hard for me to, you know, where that's still hard for me to control at times.
Yeah, and there's no controlling them. Actually, I think the more sensitive we are, control goes out the window. It's more about honoring them.
Honoring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like allowing them to exist, you know, and then providing a space for them. Like that's where the altars and the sacred space comes in. You know, like I can go to, you know, I can remember a pain that my sister caused me and go to the altar where she is and talk to her about it and cry about it and just, and hear her talk to me about it. I mean, you know, she's apologized every time. And I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm remembering this, you know, but I go and I say, you know, remember that time you such and such and such and such, and listen. No, she doesn't remember it. Do you know that the things that we remember that people did to us, they don't remember because it didn't affect them that way. So for people to be listening for and waiting for an apology, folks don't remember. So you talk to them about it. So you journal about it. But yeah, you don't control it, Ms. Legault. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. You know,
Yeah.
and I think the thing that I've been thinking about is just the idea of that allowing, you know, because it's kind of like, you know, the thing comes up and there's a resistance that you feel, and then, you know, emotions kind of come from there. And so in thinking about just like allowing the thought, you know, allowing the feeling and being able to just kind of like sit with the feeling. And like I said, the logical part and what I try to do is just go deep about, you know, like, why did this feeling come now? You know, like, why is this a thing for me now? And usually it is a reason that it's a thing for me.
But it's kind of like that whole, the why is a left brain activity, isn't it? Why is I need to understand this? Whereas allowing is the right brain. Letting it be.
Like, just let it be, just light it.
Just let it be. This is showing up. And you know, when we do that, sometimes the clarity comes later. Oh, the aha moment comes later when we're not looking for it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's why that showed up like that. Yeah, that's good. Have you had anything show up during this class that hadn't shown up before?
I wouldn't say something that hasn't shown up before, but I will say that I don't resist it as much. And so that's, so even with talking, I mean, I was talking with this to Kareem about this class, because Kareem was like, so I forgot, what did he call it? The death, or I forgot it wasn't doula, because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He's a dealer, death dealer. He's saying, so you a death dealer? I said,
Death dealer.
is not a death dealer. No, sir. But even being able to talk to him about death, and so it's like, with that being a present thing for us, with having lost, his dad, my husband, that's the thing. But it's still, he's talking to me about, I mean, his biggest fear is losing me. And then I have to say, like, that is a fear, that's a fear, and that's real, but that's also a truth of life, like, yes. I'm not gonna be here for, so it's like, it's a fear you have, but it's a real thing. Like, I'm not gonna be, gonna be here. But he has the understanding of, because he can see it as, my dad's still here spiritually, like he still experiences it like that, and so he's just, so he's like, I've never been alone. That's something he said too. He's like, I've never been alone, because even if you're not here with me, because Dad is with me spiritually, like, I've never been alone. And I'm like, right.
That's deep. Kareem, how old is he?
10. But even being able, so I can see, like, my ability to have these conversations with him without, having my own, whatever, just like, as a matter of fact, and that's what it is, or whatever, has improved with this class.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. What, Teresa, what were you going to say?
I'm so grateful to you, Moot, for this class, because when I saw that you were offering the class, I'm like, I don't need another class, okay? I need to get it together. I need to promote. I need work. I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? And that, it was like pulling at me, like, you really need to deal with this, because your whole breakdown 10 years ago was through the death of your dad, and that's how you met Moot. And I called you and I said, I need to get this class in. For some odd reason, I need to get this class in. And after, I believe, when I went into the first class, I had a ceremony to go to that Saturday. And I'm so grateful, because it was an ancestral clearing, ancestral connecting through, my breath. And it was in a teepee with all this medicinal herbs, and I felt, and my intention, like they said, set your intention, and my intention was to connect with my dad. And I said, okay, Dad, I need to hear from you. I need you to tell me what's up, because this has been 10, 12 years of a lot of stuff because of you, and I'm so grateful, because through the ceremony, I felt his presence. I felt him and my mom holding me as I was laying. It was the most incredible experience. And I heard the message that I needed to hear. And then I saw my grandfather, my grandmother holding my head, and my grandfather holding my feet. It was just unbelievable, the experience. But after that, I came back home. I ended up right away jumping into class and listening to the Netflix series. I had already watched The Medium, but I had started the Netflix series, and all week long I watched it. And it was tearing me apart inside. It was doing something to me. Watching it was doing something to me. And I let it be where it was going to go and how it was going to be. And I am so grateful to have seen that series because I feel like my prayer throughout these 10 years of all this stuff that was going on for me, I call it emotional imbalances that was going on and everything, and finding myself, was that I would say to God, like, I want to be less flesh and more spirit now. I want to be less flesh and more spirit now. And this whole process has really brought me to that spirit part, knowing that we've been conditioned not to tap into that power within that's only going to clear everything for us.
We have so been conditioned not to tap in.
Oh my God. Like, I have a grandson that, like, I get chills. My grandson teaches me. You know, and like I said, when he was here in January, I asked him one question, like I always ask my kids when they're a certain age. I said, what's one thing you want your mother to know that you can't tell her? And he says, Lela, I want my mom to know that I want to be a, what do you say, the religious, the Buddha. What's the Buddha religion?
A Buddha.
He wants
Tao.
Something else that he used, but I said to him, wow, Stacks. And right away, I wanted to receive that as he laid it to me. Right. But no, I said, what does that mean for you?
Right.
And he goes, that means that I want more peace on earth and I want people to love each other. You know, and I was like, wow, Stacks, that's huge. And I said, why do you feel like you can't share that with your mom or, you know, your dad? And he said, because I think they think I'm weird.
Wow.
Yes. And I told him, I said, wow, Stacks, that's pretty amazing. Because you know what's the funny part about it? I said, the funny part about it is everyone else around you is the weirdo. You're the light. You got this. You should be teaching this, you know? And he's like, really, Lela? I said, yeah, man. And I think that is something that if we can all go inside out now, if we can all just take our bodies and just go inside out and be all this beautiful spirit that's inside and walk in that spirit, man, we could change the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other thing that you said earlier about people that come to disrupt someone that's leaving without realizing they're actually disrupting, right? Because their energy is all about themselves.
Yeah.
That I wanted to ask you this question. Do you think that it's okay that you share with that person that they can actually hear them very clearly? Because I think a lot of people think that they can't hear them.
Definitely share that. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of times that's the person trying to reconcile for themselves what they're dealing with, and they're not concerned about the other person. Exactly. You see, and sometimes it's hard to be concerned about somebody else when you're hurting.
Sure.
And sometimes those people, because I know some people that are very angry, they know it, and then you say that, it's probably, I guess it has to, you have to gauge, you know, like test the spirit, I guess, you know what I mean? Because you tell somebody like that want to be disruptive, they were like, oh, good, I want them to hear me say, I want them to hear this. So
So, but that's again, in the space, you know, giving them, because these are people who have, and Tammy and I were talking about this earlier, a lot of us haven't healed. We've just gotten through stuff. We've just gone through it. So this person needs a different set of skills.
Mm-hmm.
Because love isn't present for them. Their anger is present for them. We know a lot of people that go through most of life just being on anger. They have no idea that anger is really covering up their pain and their hurt. And it only heals when you deal with the pain and the hurt. And that's again where that deeper listening comes from, when you can listen to somebody and hear their pain. And just hearing it gives them an out. So when you say that to somebody and you listen to them, and even if they feel like this other person heard them, it may be a release for them. You know, so like Amanda said, you gotta gauge the space. But if it's a lot of people there, it's not appropriate because it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd just be too much energy in that space. That's good. And Landa, what else were you gonna say?
I forgot.
Oh, you so funny.
I did, because I started thinking about, I just started thinking about this, all of the process and what we've been doing already. I guess we didn't know that this was something you do. And so when you said to have your doula bag, I did that when I went down. That's actually my first experience when Michelle's daughter died. That was the very first experience of having that death, that conversation and being that close into that. And I've never spirit led me to do that, just
And this was your granddaughter, right? How old was she?
She was 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
she was born on Zakura's birthday.
Yes. And I just talked to Michelle about that because she had an issue because I guess the daddy, her husband, has said something, and she was saying, well, and I was telling her I was doing this class, and she said, well, I just want to know, does Layla blame me for anything? Because Keith said that because of me. I said, well, here's the thing. I said, I told you. I said, I do remember on the day I told you. I said, I usually don't remember this stuff. I said, but somehow just now as you're talking, I remember exactly what I said to you. And I told her what it was. And I said, remember I gave you a red scarf. I said, I told you I was sitting in the room, and as I'm sitting there, I heard her say, I like that. Can you leave that here? I said, remember I gave you things for an altar for her. I said, remember you told me 2 days before she passed, she told you she was going back to the car saying she has to go. I said, so she knows that she only came here for a brief time. She knew what she was doing. She knows she wasn't going to be here. And so I also told her that sometimes when things and accidents happen, it's not an accident at all. It's just that she had to go, she had to leave. So whatever happened that make her leave, she knew at that moment when to go. And so I had to kind of break that down to her. And I said, because she's having these type of experiences now too. And I said, well, you my daughter. And I told her, I said, you're learning how to do this. I said, you can tap into this yourself just by listening and letting go. I said, because right now you're taking in what somebody else is telling you, that they're blaming you about it. And I said, and she had already told you days before she was going.
And that book, Robert Schwartz's book, Your Soul's Plan, would be a good book for her.
Okay.
Your Soul's Plan. And she probably could channel Layla if she just allow herself to not feel the guilt and responsibility. And her husband is feeling that too, and just wanting someone to blame. That's just how we are.
Yeah.
As humans, it's your fault is probably one of the first places we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's kind of like coaching her into that. It's just that, it's just like lately I've been talking to her and we've been talking about this. And so just hearing what she's going through, you know what I mean? It's not even going through. She's just she's starting to transform into a person.
I can't even imagine, we've seen, a lot of us have seen people lose their child in our family, but I still I don't want to imagine that.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so for her to have to deal with that at such a very young age, and then still have 6 children to love. I mean, it's sometimes you almost want to withhold just because you feel like you did something wrong with that one child. Yeah. And it's just not. Layla is there. She's there.
And she says she feels her sometimes. I said, well, you sometimes just get quiet and talk to her. I did tell her that. I said, sometimes you just talk. I said, because she is around. And I told her that. And so it's just lately I've been having a lot of these conversations with people. I would ask somebody like, hey, somebody, I just happened to walk past somebody, like, somebody, blah, blah. And they just look at me. I was like, uh-oh, it's happening. I think to myself like, oh, yeah, that was a thing. You know what I mean? And I try not to freak myself out because I don't want to freak them out. Right.
Yeah, and so
So-
one of the things, if you notice in Tyler Henry's work, how he said that this process ages him, the reason this process ages him is because he hasn't developed the skills to take care of himself. That's why we do the work that we do in Master Force. Mostly our tools are about self-care.
I saw that when he talked about his health. I
Yeah.
said, this is what you're doing with us. I said, this is what, when you said the bath, get into the tub,
All of that, you have to.
Yeah.
And so many people, because there's so much accolades outside of us, it's like, let me just give more. Let me just do more. Let me just, and you don't want to do that. You have to remember that your experiences matter.
Mm-hmm.
You matter to life. You're not here to be sacrificed, and you do have gifts to give, so you balance it. So that's the one thing. If you took anything from Tyler Henry, what I want you to see is that self-care is far more important than sacrificing who you are so that other people can get their life. That's not what it is, because there are plenty of mediums around. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first thing I actually that actually clicked with me when he said he had having health issues, and I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
maybe he needs to get into he needs to tap into I said, I see why you're doing this with us, to take care of ourselves,
He needs
because
a life coach.
he needs a life coach.
As
He needs his
Tammy
own
would
life
say.
coach. He really does. And I noticed a lot of mediums. There's a medium out here. She's Mariah. Her name Mariah. She knows Boo. Anyway, she's a medium and she has issues. And so she's been dealing with things, and I've been trying to reach out to her. So I was like, I'll wait till we have a conversation, because she's the one that told me about my whole ancestral team I have around me that goes with me. So I want to kind of like do the same with her, because I've been noticing some things going on, and I've been reaching out to her because she's about to get a divorce, and she's really, she does a whole lot of things. And I noticed that people, when they're doing this spiritual work, they don't really understand. I think they don't really grasp who they are in spiritual. So do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You tapping into the spiritual realm, but you're not really taking care of your spiritual self.
Because again, and this goes back to the work, we use the life quadrant
Mm-hmm.
to balance ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. All those are grounded on a daily basis. And we break it down so that we can see it for ourselves. So we want to make sure that we're sharing that with our clients. But the way that you share things is to bring it into yourself. You have to be the example of that. And I like what Teresa said, being more spirit than flesh.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't get our work done without the flesh. What I'm saying? So we have to balance that out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I want to ask you one question, Mo, if you don't mind. One of the things that I think for me that I've really struggled with for a long time is accepting these gifts. And I don't know if I have to do a ceremony seeing me being accepting of these gifts, or what that is. What is in the middle of all of that?
Now, I bet you know exactly what I would say, Teresa. Do you know exactly what I would say? Okay, let me just say this. So my experience with you over these 10 years is the little sister syndrome.
Yeah.
You're not the little sister, mama.
Yeah.
You're the teacher.
Yeah.
But you have all these older siblings over you that have been telling you, you're the little sister. You got to do what I say. You got to do it like this. Do you know how much you've had to? This is why you had to leave home when you were 17, 18, just so you could start hearing spirit talk to you. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. So part of your work is to own yourself. Mm-hmm. Not the gifts. You got the gifts. But to own yourself and not look over there for permission, validation. They don't even need to know what you're doing. You know, because part of our validation, we want people, oh yeah, you know, I'm doing this. And my family don't, the only person that know that I'm really doing is Alanda. That's it. My children don't even know what I do. You understand?
Yeah.
And because I don't need, I'm on a mission. This is my work. This is what the universe sent me here to do. I'm grateful that I got it and can do it.
Yeah.
And what do they want to see? They want to see money. My kids think I'm not successful because I don't have a lot of money. If you were, listen, that is not what the value of what I do is not in how much money I make. You understand? But how the difference that we make in people's lives is immeasurable. And we just getting started. We've just built the ground floor. We haven't even stacked yet. So all there is for you to do is just own it. You have it already. I would say the same thing to Alanda.
I would say that I am totally 100% clear of that. And I've also worked on that. Like, they don't know what I'm doing. These people don't know anything about me.
No.
My kids don't even know.
No.
They see me as they see you. Where's your money, Mom? I'm struggling. Oh my God. When you know, my family they look down at me, right? Yeah. But they look up at me when it's time. Like my mother when she passed, my father when he passed. Teresa, where are you? We need you. Okay, fine. But I've had to break free of all of that. And I have, and yet there's still, and I think you know, thank you for what you're saying. At the same time, I also think that there's something about the space that I'm in right now that is, and we could talk about that later because that's not important in this space, but there's something there still. And also, I've also heard from the ancestors that I'm still learning more and more. I think this doula class, the Death Doula class, is actually what I needed to be complete with everything that I have inside of me.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's always going to be more learning, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be more information. But the thing what I want us to be clear about is all of that learning doesn't make us who we are. The value is already there. The value is already there. And we just have to give ourselves permission. Give ourselves permission. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, we'll talk more about it because, you know, during the recertification process, your process was to build wealth, but you didn't even go through the process. You see that? It was several people. I'm like, now all these people didn't go through the process. Okay, what? Hello. And wealth is a part of spiritual life. Abundance is a part of spiritual life. So we have to give ourselves permission for that too. Okay. When my friends invited me to go with them to Jamaica to celebrate Akaherit's 65th birthday, I had just came back from Cancun with Shalonda. My first thought was, oh my goodness. Really? And my spirit said, well, say yes, and we'll figure it out later. You know, I said yes and figured it out and went and knew that I needed to be there, and it was just what I needed. You know, so we have to allow ourselves permission, and we'll talk more about that, okay? And so I want to move into, because we're getting down to the last few minutes, I want to talk about what our Death Doula completion projects look like, okay? And the reason that we're doing these completion projects is because we have to literally begin to set up what does it look like to have a practice. right? What does it look like to have a death doula practice? How do I integrate that into being a life coach? And this just becomes another one of the services that you offer, right? So you can choose one of the following. A, you can create a 3-minute video introducing your death doula service, okay? And so when you create this 3-minute video, however you create it, I'd like you to share it with the class so we can give you some authentic feedback. And, but then this now becomes something that you can use to introduce your service, okay? So that you can either choose that, or B, you can produce a mocked up brochure that outlines your death doula service. Now, you may want to do both of these, but you only need to choose one for the completion project. But the idea is that you begin to have some things to show what your work is, okay? What your services are, rather. Or the third thing is you can record a recapitulation session with your buddy, demonstrating how to work through the process. So you can create a Zoom call with your buddy, 10 or 15 minutes, and you record it. And what you're doing is just going through recapitulation, questioning and listening, and having them go deeper and deeper into whatever it is they're having to release in that moment.
Could you give an example? Could you give an example of that?
Well, remember the questions that I answered. What are you most grateful for in this moment? Right. And then remember, you're going to get the slides. I'll have the slides in the video, so you'll be able to go back through that. But recapitulation is really having the person deal with whatever anxieties they're having, whatever concerns they're having. You see a lot of people, they just, they can't talk because they have these tears going down their face because they've lost their voice. Imagine if they were able to speak prior to that. So part of that process is having people be heard. That's what recapitulation is about. So you choose one of those. You choose the video, you choose the brochure, or you do the recording. All right. Now that
I have one more question, and I'm sorry.
No.
For some odd reason, I thought recapitulation, the way I learned it, was recapping your day at night when you're in bed.
But that's how we use it. But yeah, go ahead.
So what is this then? What is recapitulation with your partner in this case look like?
Yeah, this is just demonstrating your ability to create the process, so that if you are working with a client, you would know how to do it. It's mostly listening, mostly demonstrating your deep listening skills, because it's not so much about the questioning. You can ask one question and have that person delve in. And then you would have another question come up based on what they said. But what you're doing is demonstrating your deep listening skills, your ability to be empathic with that person in that moment. And we do it all the time with our clients anyway. All right. The only difference is we're demonstrating this in a different way for those who are in their transition.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. That's separate from your self-love task. All right. And those, again, those shouldn't take you shouldn't have to spend more than 30 minutes on any one of those projects, but I just want you to do one. But your self-love task, number one, create a list of 10 things you have in your doula bag. Right? 10 things you have in your doula bag. And we talked about some of them in session 1 or 2 or whatever. All right. And then also, and you have your own special expertise. So don't just think that you're limited to what we learned here. You have other things that you bring, right? Next is begin to generate resources and connections. So we talked about hospice centers or hospice care, funeral directors, you know, people that might need to have funeral services and they don't know or whatever, you know, you want to have those connections available for them. But you want to have a resources available to you that you can send people to. Do you know a masseuse that you can send the mother to? Do you know, you understand there are different things that, and you're just gonna have a list so that you aren't always trying to worry about it, but you go, oh yeah, I got that on my list. And you create your resources. All right. And when you create your resources, because you have these things from your project, your project at the end, imagine being able to go to somebody and say, oh, listen, I'm a death doula and I just want to introduce myself. Here's my brochure. Or here's my video of my services. And this is, you know, this is how you're going to generate people knowing that you exist in your community, right? And then also you want to seek opportunities to volunteer. So you want to look and see where either hospitals, hospices, nursing homes, you know, different places. And not that you have to start volunteering right now, but that you begin to know where these are. Okay? Communicate with your buddy and do your journal work. That doesn't sound like a lot, does it? The thing is, we have one last session, and that's mostly going to be about the business side. You know, that's, you know, but here you want to get grounded in what the services are that you can provide. And then create opportunities where you can provide those services. And then in our final class, we'll look at the business side and the different, they've been doing Death Doula for a while now. We are not new to the game. However, we don't have this in our community like that. Aretha, the closest I came to this is Mama Francis. Mama Francis, we had my aunt, Aretha's grandmother has buried 3 of her grandchildren, including Aretha's mother. And Francis was there for every single one of them.
She was like Weeping Wanda as a prophet.
We loved and hated Mama Francis, did we not?
I was at grandmama's funeral. We was in the back roasting her. Me and Erica, we were just talking. I don't know why. That was our way of grieving. I think dealing with grief too, because we'd find something and joke about it. And so I noticed that we've done that.
Because we didn't have permission to talk about it.
Yeah. So we found jokes.
We created jokes, yeah.
I realized that. Yeah, Frances was definitely, she was a death doula before. That's what preachers do.
That's what preachers do, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, you can think about yourself, who have been the death doulas around you, and begin to look and see what services they provided.
You know, it's funny because I can say that being as a teenager and being a younger person, when I tell dreams, I guess I was a death doula then, but everything we got turned off. Like, you can't tell people that somebody's gonna die. You can't go talk to people with this, you know. And so it was just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to, but why I'm dreaming and stuff, right?
Well, there's a way to deal with that. And that's, again, why we want you to look at, because it's just like, sometimes it's like, you don't just blurt out things, right? Yeah. And then there's a way to work with people and have them get clear. death doesn't mean the end.
Yes.
If we can get this one point through to our families and friends so that the grief becomes less painful and they look for the connection in the afterlife so that they're looking for them instead of grieving for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Miss Legault's son, Kareem said, I ain't never by myself. I mean, come on. Can we get like that as adults when we realize, oh, you're right there. Okay, you just in the spiritual form and not the physical. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is how we bring that to our clients and our constituents by, first of all, getting it clear for ourselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, guys?
It makes sense. I'm in a town full of old people, so I know I'm gonna be able to have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Yeah, a lot of volunteer opportunities. Create your project so that you can introduce yourself to your community, and then we'll just go from there. Okay. And Teresa and Alanda, I sent you an email yesterday. Did you see it? No, because you didn't respond. But anyway, Teresa and Alanda, I owe both of you a call. And Miss Legault, it's summertime. Come get us, sister.
Yes, come on, let's go. Let's go. Where we going?
Akua came and got me the other day, and we went to the beach with my chair. I was like, oh, I get to use my little chair.
Yeah, you know I'm always down.
I know. I was thinking the other day, I said, who's going to this concert? Miss Legault, you know.
Yep. Let me know. Let me know. Let you know.
Let me know. We'll keep in touch. All right, you guys. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
I just want to add that, you know, you were speaking about all this and summing it all up. And I just think about, you know, me as a child and how many funerals did I go to, right? And watching my family mourn and mourn. And I mean, this craziness and all this drama and all this other stuff, right? And yet here we are, I'm 57 and I'm still seeing the same thing, right? I went to a funeral, last month, cousin might have, they were just all over the place. And, you know, it's like, this teaching is so important for the world, and I'm excited to see how this is going to bust out. You know, how is this going to be presented now? How are we?
It's going to be bust. It's going to bust out through you.
Yes, and many others.
Yeah, because literally, we have to be the messengers.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Very good.
Each one of us have a group of people that we influence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, and so we have, here's Tammy coming back. Hold on.
Is she?
So she had a client. So we are the messengers. We are the ones that are going to make a difference and having people present to the difference between grieving and acknowledging our people who have transitioned.
Beautiful.
And you have to create that experience for yourself. And Teresa, I love being able to say to you in our early relationship, your father brought you to me.
Mm-hmm.
Your father brought you to me. Mm-hmm. And we met on a radio show, Ignite Your Soul Connection. You called in and told the story about the deer and your father, or the buck and your father.
Yeah.
And I was so moved by that. I had no idea 10 years later we'd be sitting here having this conversation, because I did not have that death doula conversation at that time. You see that?
Yes.
But we've been doing it. We've been in the process of it.
Yes, yes, yes. And here you are in my book. I produced a book, and in that book is Shemsu-t, and the journey that I took and had to take in order to get on the other side of this.
That great.
So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. But do you remember your sister telling me, oh, you won't be her friend for long? Do you remember them saying that to me?
Oh, really?
When I first went to Puerto Rico, they said, oh, you won't be with her friend for long because her friends don't last or something like that. And I thought that was odd, but all of your sisters sat with me, right? To get who is she?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But I always say too, Miss Stewart, that you were my death doula with Jared.
okay.
It's like, because that was the first, like right after, and then I was like, I don't know what's, I didn't even know the first thing to do, but I was like, I'm gonna call Miss Stewart. I was gonna call Miss Stewart, and I was like, and I remember thinking, because I'm like, I didn't even know that you would know what to do,
Right? But I was in
like, because
town.
like I said, that wasn't like this is what you do, but it was like you were a person, and I do think that also came from him.
Yeah. And I just happened, I was just so moved, Miss Legault, that I just happened to be in town, because I mean, all over the place.
Right. You've been here in Vegas or whatever. And I was like, I gotta call Miss Stewart.
And you called, and I was just, and I think I had saw it on Facebook and was just like, oh no, how did this happen? And that's how I am about, I'm being like, how do people die? And I wasn't right there. You know what I'm saying? But my friend died a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, how did I not know she was going through this? But since then, she spoke to me and talked. You see, so all of us have that connection.
I have that.
Like this morning, watching Alanda's daughter graduate, her mom was right there, just acknowledging all of it. And I said, Alanda, your mama is right here. She's all over this. And acknowledging what our family. I was in tears because she was just talking about what our family has gone through, what we've lived, and then to look and see Cece. It's like, oh,
right.
Yeah. So we serve each other. We definitely serve each other.
For each other.
And Ms. Legault, you've been death doulas for your friend. Remember whose son?
Yeah. Whose son?
Yeah. Yep. Was it last year or this year?
This was in last August.
Yeah.
This was last August.
And we're going to see more people because it's just way
because it's part of life.
It's part of life. And the way this pandemic has happened, a lot of people are just leaving quickly right now.
I was listening to this girl the other day, and she does I guess she does she's a spiritual practitioner, and she was kind of giving a forecast talking about the energy we in, and she said she was telling her listeners to elevate or die. She said the evolution is our elevation of our spirit, of our self, and those that are resisting and want to stay in the ego, is not that they intentionally doing it, but it's a resistance that is going to take them out of here sooner. That was in a nutshell what she was trying to explain to her.
Well, people. All there is to raise your vibration, and we know how to do that. We threw that through food. We do that through exercise. We do that through being in nature. We do that through meditation and breathing. It's simple. It's not about being holier than thou at all.
Yep.
She how much money you can donate to the church either.
She said that. She talked about eating, going out. She pretty much said all of that about that. So she's one of the ones. She's down in Atlanta too. I noticed. I think she said that. So, and I think she kind of referenced like looking at. I saw another video. I guess they were talking about this Kevin Samuels guy, and how he just like dropped. You know what I mean? That was so unexpected. So being
it was unexpected, but he was. You look in. He was a 10 of diamond. He drank Red Bull. He took Viagra. And somebody said he had the jab too. So there were certain things that went and played with that.
And the emotional piece, the bitterness that he.
Yes, the bitter. Yep.
That's well, but he would. But see, too. He also he didn't necessarily have the delivery of what he was teaching, but he was teaching truth.
Mhm.
He just didn't have because a lot of the things he taught, it's a lot of people that teach that about, bringing personally, I am not a feminist. Just for the record, I don't have to be a feminist. And the reason I'm not a feminist is because I have two sons that could easily become a victim of this society. You understand? And I do not have to fight to be equal to a man. A man
Yes.
cannot give birth.
Yes.
There's no equality
Why would I fight to be equal?
to be equal, right?
You hear what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we want to pick our battles, because our children are suffering from not having mothers. They're not having fathers either, but the more suffering comes from not having mothers.
Because the mothers can't even mother
No.
because they're trying to do both, and
They're trying to do both. Okay, so we want to get clear about, I get, and listen, I can't even tell you I ever listened to Kevin Samuelson, but I had so many people put them in my face and want to argue the point. But I had to tell them, okay, listen, I went to wife school when I lived in Iowa. I read a book, right? And she said, when your husband come home, make sure you look cute, your house is clean, dinner. I did that. But guess what? I don't just do it for my husband. If you come into my house, I'm gonna clean my house. I'm gonna be presentable. I'm gonna have some food ready.
Right.
You understand? That's what you do when you're welcoming people into your home.
in your space, yeah.
In your space. And we've just gotten lax about it. You understand?
No, my mom had 12 children, and my mom, for all the time that I remember, she had every single day before my father came home, she would start cooking. Look at, I didn't know what time. She would start cooking at 3 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, she would lower the fire. I never forget this. And she'd go take her shower, get dressed, put perfume, put on a beautiful dress. I mean, craziness. I thought.
Well, that's why she had 12 kids.
Girl, let me tell you. And I mean, my sister Elena, she still does that with her husband. She still, before he gets home, she ain't gonna be looking like, sideways Sally.
You want to know how to keep a man? Make him feel welcome to your presence. I'm glad to see you.
Yeah.
But I greet my children like that. When my son is coming up the stairs, hey, I'm doing a Z dance.
Okay, so sometimes I have a little thing about that because I communicate when I want to nurture and self-care and all of that. When I do that, I communicate that. But also, it's not that I do a give and take, but I'm not going to keep giving you all of this stuff. And I don't see, when I ask you for a simple thing, so I don't get into all that. I just like, okay, but I'm going to ask you again. So sometimes I have doing all of that, also showing appreciation. And like that's then one of the things I'm working on. Like I show appreciation regardless of what is done for me, right? But that's when I do the love languages, because we have these things that like for some reason husbands don't remember to do nothing you ask them to do. I don't know, it's a thing wired in their brain that they don't, right? Yep. But then sometimes you have to look at that. Like I do all of this. I give you food. Not because I'm doing it for you, like I want to trade off. It's just sometimes like, okay, I want you to kind of like pay attention to me. Hello. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, but sometimes, right? Sometimes the energy becomes, how do I actually contain myself, right? In a way that doesn't put responsibility on that so that I can appreciate it when it shows up.
Right.
It shows, women and men are different. And when men say to me, you need to do, I said, first of all, I am not you. I am not a man, and I do not think like a man.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
not my criteria.
Yeah.
Now, if you want me to understand something you're speaking to me about, that's different. But to ask my behavior to be like yours, you know, and so we got to do the same thing. We can't
Yep.
ask their behavior to be like ours.
Yep.
And it's so, I'm gonna tell you, the more you don't need somebody, the more they show up.
Mhm.
That is true.
The more it's be like, listen, and when I start, get my little slimness going on in my leg, hey, no, come snipping up behind me now.
That is, and I think
That is
I think that's what this whole thing is going on with what we're seeing and with the Kevin Samuels and the people that follow him and what they're saying about women and how women should act. I think that's some of the communication is women are now finding that they don't need a man. And so it's not the feminist thing. It's just that it's a different type of empowerment now.
But here's the thing, and I just posted this on my wall last night. Where is my lion? Because I need a man, not the need him for his money, but his protection, his compassion, his conversation, his presence, his nurturing, his support, his energy is unmatched. Do you know that our communities are being ravaged because our men are gone?
Mhm.
Because these mugs think they can roll up on here because do you know, if you look at a lion's den, you know who's sitting out there with the children? The father. Where's the mama? She out getting the food.
Yeah.
But who there? Papa Bear. Roll up on him. We don't
Mhm.
have that in our community. It by design, they took it. So for us to be arguing
About it, yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not, we need to be nurturing each other.
Yep.
I'm gonna prepare every man to come into my space for his wife, even if I'm not his wife. I'm gonna prepare him for that because our society, you build a family, you build community.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice what they're doing? They're making women strong, and y'all don't even get how our society have been sold out by some of these very strong women.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't even, most of us don't even get that we've been sold out by these very strong women.
You know,
the most educated are African-American women running these corporations that are poisoning us. If I know that somebody's poisoning my children, you think I'm gonna keep doing it?
Mm-hmm.
You can't use me to poison my own people. But these women have been indoctrinated to do that. Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go and look. It's so interesting. And I'm just like, oh, that's why we're building this quiet army. We're building a quiet army here.
Yep. Hold on one second.
What were you gonna say, Amanda?
I was looking at something and they showed an old newspaper clip and a video or something I was watching yesterday. I've been watching a lot of documentaries, but they showed a particular ad in the early 20s that made, I think it was not maybe it was the First World War, made women, Black women, go to work. It was illegal in New York for Black women to not work while their husbands are either away in the service or whatever, but they had to go to work. They passed a law for women to go to work. So if you had more than one child or whatever, any kids, but you did not work, they made them go to work. So when people go back, they date when the families shifted, like from civil rights era to the equal rights. They were saying this, but then you go back further than that. It started in the 20s because a lot of people don't know that a lot of women were made to work because they had to, and it wasn't just in it was cities like New York. New York was not the only place. So I'm still researching that because it's not just that. So we have been made to go to work when we have been naturally taking care of people. So it's backed into that whole thing about women and men and our roles and all of that. We are strong. We don't have to prove it. We kind of like can do anything.
We're strong, but I want us to realize our strength has to be for the community and not just for ourselves. We have to become more, and I know that we're community. I'm talking to the choir. Y'all know I know what y'all do. So that's not talking to you. But again, we have to be sure that we see what's needed in our community and not just stand on our laurels.
Yeah.
So Shemsu, I wanted to add to what you were saying in regards to the professional women. Some of the women that, I'm coaching, they are so busy doing it all and they are drowning, the expectations of being able to bring in the finances. Because we know, of course, by design, our men are not making the money, that in some cases that a lot of Black women are not getting the jobs a lot of Black women can get. They're not designing programs specifically for Black men to learn certain trades as they are with our Black women. So we know that, but the expectation in the household is that they still come home, cook, clean, wash, make sure the kids are taken care of, make sure homework is done. And then they're drowning. So I'm coaching them. I'm coaching them through this because in the traditional mindset is, well, I have a husband, I gotta make sure he's okay, I gotta make sure everybody's okay. But as you know this, like you said, we preach to the choir, we're not okay.
Not okay.
Because the men are not able to support financially in some cases, and then the ones that are able to, this is just my experience, you all, what I've been seeing lately in my practice, the ones that are, they, of course, they want multiple women. They don't necessarily want wives.
But it's so interesting because, when I was married to my second husband, and we got pregnant with Zakor, my statement was, one of us has to be at home because I'm not sending my son to daycare. Well, I didn't know he was a son, but I'm not sending my child to daycare. So we get to decide. I can live off of what you make, even though I was making double. I was making double what he was making, but I told him I can live off of what you make because I know how to be practical. Right? I said, but you get to choose if it's going to be you or me, but somebody staying home. And he chose to stay home. But then he slept with a woman in my car. Because he said his self-esteem had gotten low.
That's what I'm saying, Shemsu. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm like, but then you take the son in you and you go, because
I know
I'm now in corporate. So I do get what you're saying. I do get it.
Yes.
And at the same time, I still did what I could to keep a strong connection to my family, but not at the expense of killing myself.
And
this is what we have to teach. Yes. Because so many young women are leaving their children because they're dropping dead too.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Absolutely. I think also the important factor here with some of my clients, and I talk to them about it, is to balancing the feminine and masculine energy that we carry.
Yes.
Because once we get into the workforce and once we do all this work and we come home, we be acting like a man. We come home.
Fire. You got to turn the fire off.
And that's the problem, because men look at us like, what's wrong with you? Well, you didn't do the dishes. Now I'm tired. Shit, I came home and the kids, they're looking at you like, yo, what's up with that? And then you wonder why, they go off with another woman. So it's really important that I know, and it's so hard on us women to even think that we have such big responsibilities when we're out here in the workforce, to come back home and to be that feminine energy. And I think that, and Alanda and I probably connect here, and she doesn't know it. I know it. I get chills talking about it. That we're very strong women, and we have the tongue to slash that man in half because we expect things to happen, and that's the way it's supposed, you know. And that's part of me growing up with 8 brothers and 3 sisters, and I'm number 11, whatever my story is, right? But I have to check myself with my boyfriend Steve. I have to, and I have talked to Mood about it. I mean, I've had to like Michael Jackson that shit, you know. Moonwalk my ass up the back, you know, and that's a conversation to be had. You know, how do you balance feminine and masculine energy that we carry as women? And then we come home and we slash that man in half like he ain't shit. What? You know, and that's the conversation. Like, how do we balance that in our clients and be able to help them to walk through that and see it for themselves, and then start to soften that, because money and the house and the cars, all that stuff is going to be there when you die. So that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. And then that's what happens when people watch these housewives of Atlanta and all this other stuff. They want that outfit and that booty and all this craziness. For what? For what? While you slash your man in half, that's all they show you on TV.
But that's where we have to come back to the basics. And I think what's going on right now, you know, what's going on right now, I just read that Biden sent a whole crate of formula to Ukraine. Baby formula to Ukraine. And they talk about there's no baby formula on the shelves. However, Bill Gates has just partnered with a company that makes synthetic baby formula.
Wow.
But there was a lot of formula on recall anyway. So the
but wait a minute,
is crazy.
Let's push breastfeeding.
Right.
Let's push breastfeeding.
And they have breastfeeding. What do you want to call, like co-ops? Because this is women that because it's like, because that's another thing. Women are like, what I can't breastfeed in the first two weeks and blah blah. I couldn't breastfeed. I'm like, girl, there's a will, there's a way.
Because they got things. It's so many things. But listen, we have you know, I assign people lactation coaches. I know lactation coaches. Get them lactation coaches. So, but again, this is us. To the message, you know, we are the messengers.
We're the messengers.
We are. I've been seeing some older white women get on these younger women case. Like, look, we grew up on pet milk, so we could. If you want me to show you how to do it, I could do.
Well, but see, I'm not gonna push milk. But I am gonna push the hemp because I put Dr. Sebi's recipe on my food. But you know, because there's so many different ways to do formula. Right? Almond butter and spring water, stir it up. That's what we used to give Zakor if I wasn't home in time to get the ninny.
And you know, and that's what I'm not saying we're doing that, but I'm noticing
that I know we did.
Because that's about everybody's panicking. Yeah, everybody's panicking. Everybody's panicking.
But I want us to be clear that we are the messengers. Okay, so we're the ones. And if we have to adopt the young mothers, I don't know. This is another conversation we have to have about families and moms and children, because our children are counting on us. You see, that's so as we get older, we're the ones that have to make sure that the next generation is taken care of. Not the generation right below us, but the generations coming. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. I don't know how we got on that soap opera, but thank you.
But it's good because it's still a conversation, though. That's still the conversation because this may be coming up, you know.
This may be another. We may have to do a symposium on it.
We should.
You may have to.
Absolutely.
These conversations are needed. for
Yeah.
young girls, for young moms, for young girls to hear this, because they've been fed so much crap out in the streets right now. They're fed so much. I just had a
And
young,
mamas are not at home because we're busy,
yeah.
you know.
I had a young lady here this week. A client of mine came from an hour away, and we spent an hour. And she told me she was breastfeeding her daughter until last month. Her daughter's 6 years old here in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
She
Well,
told
Michael
me-
Jordan was breastfed till he was 7.
Wow, look at that.
Okay. I mean, listen. I mean, this ain't like they on the ninny all day. That's not what I'm saying. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
They know that breast milk, when it touches prostate cancer, it kills it on contact.
Wow.
Mm.
In Europe, 25% of the population breastfeed their husbands.
What?
Arnold Schwarzenegger said, the reason that I beat my competition is because I drink breast milk.
Oh.
Wow.
Yes. So that's a whole, look, we're
That's a
talking about how do we make breast milk smoothies.
Wow.
So that's how I know about the breast milk banks, Landa, because we like, listen, we actually do give meals. We make meals every week for pregnant moms. How do we get these pregnant moms to give us their milk so we can?
I just had a whole different. I just went a whole. I said that'd be one more reason for a man to cheat. Like you, hey,
Right.
babe, yo, I went and got her breast milk because you know I'm trying to treat my cancer.
Oh,
I'm trying to treat my kid.
listen, you can, grandmas can still lactate.
Lord.
What grandma?
You a grandma, you can still lactate.
I ain't trying to do what you talking about.
I'm telling you.
Hey, we done with that.
Ain't we done with that?
I'm saying if we want to nurse our men,
We can nurse them.
we can create the whole lactation process. Start by adding fenugreek to your smoothie, right?
Oh.
And
Mhm.
and then you know. But that's another comment. Why are we talking
I'm
about?
not trying to get
I
this
was
is
gonna
too
say
much.
that's one more thing I gotta add to my
That's
plate
too
for
much.
these men.
We already cooking.
I'm like, I'm already doing
Are
too
you
much. Now I gotta feed the breast milk.
We ain't
You
doing
want me to breastfeed this man?
Hey,
I'm talking about the power of the, listen,
okay.
we are the, I wish y'all could see y'all.
No, feed him. Do I
Wow.
give him real food or do I breastfeed him? Which one?
This is beautiful. No, we need more. We need more talks like this. We can meet every month. We need this.
we do.
We need
Okay,
more
yeah.
talks. We need
We
more
do.
talks.
That's funny because that, you know, listen, okay.
I do got a question. I do have a serious question though,
Yeah.
because I had 2 dreams already this week, and one of them, no, this is the third one, the death of yourself, right? Just old self.
Yes.
Death doula, because I was like, a death doula can also help people bury their old selves, like let go of their old self.
Ooh.
That's good.
Say more about that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people, especially you talking about this whole generational thing, and I noticed that a lot with us, right?
Mhm.
With older women and younger women, and there's a lot of this tension with them trying to whatever. So there's a lot of us that have not transitioned into being these elders because we don't want to be, for one, it's age, but we're still aging and trying to hold on to the old things. And so people that want to make changes in their lives, because I deal with that a lot. People that want to make changes but don't really want to make changes because they're afraid to let go of who they are, or they may have went through processes of losing weight, but they're still here, the same person.
Yes.
But they're trying to be a new person, but they still have a lot of things
Yes.
that they cannot let go of, right?
Yes.
So I was thinking like, and so I had a dream about this, helping somebody. I was like, death doula can help people transition from their old selves to
Okay.
transition from their self, like get rid of that but you can transition. Like you asked the questions. And so when you said that, I said, oh my God, that's it. Ask people, what are you grateful for? Like right now. If you look at your old self, that person is gone. You need to look at it. You can't be 23 anymore, but you can still look at, you can have, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a transitioning, because that's another thing that kind of maybe killing people faster, because they're trying to hold on to old stuff and old habits and old trauma that they don't want to let go of.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And that's another
or old titles.
Yeah.
Or old titles, those titles, especially
accolades, things that they did in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's real.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to create. We just had 3 or 4 conversations we need to recreate.
Yes. I love this.
Of this. Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do this. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, guys. Thank you. I'm going to end that for now. Make sure that I'm going to post this up as soon as it's ready. And then I'll
All right.
All right. And get with your buddies if they're not here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I love you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a
Good
good day.
See y'all.
Good day. Good day.
Good day. Call me, Mo.
I will. Okay.
Okay.